Hey, Rich,
Hey, Michael.
and welcome everybody to BitPunch Radio episode 065. It has been a while since we've recorded. A lot of family stuff, spring breaks, lots of house projects, just things just kept getting in the way. But I'm very happy, excited to get to talk to you again. It's been a while since I've been able to like nerd out. Um, there's I've got a whole list of stuff here that I want to talk about, but before we get into this, I'm starting kind of a bad new thing,
Oh,
and it is called stuff. I'm starting to accrue stuff.
okay. So you're an adult
Well,
with
so
with
like
kids.
like I have firmly grasped onto Steam Deck all digital. My Xbox is a Series S, it's all digital. My computer does not have a disk drive. I don't collect stuff. Now, I have recently became a GameStop Pro member again because of some
Uh-oh.
discounts. So now I'm getting stuff from them. Um but with all the marketing around the Mario movie, my kids, we were at Target the other day and my kids like found like my son has like a Snorlax. I know that doesn't have anything to do with Mario, but I seen this little Bowser
Ooh.
and I was like, it's solid. And I was like, you know what? I need shit on my desk. Like
Yes.
I've got my monitors off the desk now, so it's all kind of flat here. I was like, I need like a couple things. So I got that.
Yes.
I got my coffee cup, I got my Mario ball and stuff. So I'm just like I'm starting to like now our last couple Switch games we've bought have been physical Switch games. Um
Mm.
like we bought Kirby and finished it and I will take that back. And I also picked up Fire Emblem Engage. I've not started that yet. But we will get into games, but it's just like as someone who was like, I don't want anything, now all of a sudden stuff is starting to
Stuff's real
show up.
nice.
And I've got a wall right here that's got a little
Uh-huh.
bit of
Uh-huh.
space on it. And I'm
Yep.
like,
Yep.
what could I put over there? I
Books.
could put
Books.
stuff.
Other nerd stuff. Yeah, that you're going through about a year ago.
I know. That's why I'm
I
bringing
know
that
it.
up.
Yeah, about a year ago, like to the day, because I saw this pop up like in my Google Photos timeline, is when I like moved my desk and like got the bookshelf next to my desk and
Mm.
like started putting books, and now I've got like the Lego Batmobile over here and like Master
Oh,
Chief and all the shit I got from Gen Con and like yeah, stuff is nice. It
stuff is nice.
now I don't come down here and like play with it every day or
Sure.
like sit down and look through the books every day, but like it just makes you feel good. Like you
Hmm.
walk into your space and you got like your books and your nerd stuff and like your own little like yeah, your stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is I'm here 9 hours a day for my day job.
Right.
So
Yeah.
then it's like when we come in here record, or if I want to play a game on my computer, which is becoming less and less. I
Yeah.
swear, if I'm looking at Steam and I don't see deck verified, I'm like, do I need that? Like, not really, nah. Like I can wait
Yeah.
on that one. Maybe they'll verify it one day. Um, but yeah, so I'm getting into this gross habit of just collecting stuff. So made me think of
Right.
you and your shelf. I need a shelf at this point. Um, man, we have a lot to cover. What do you want to get into first?
Oh man. I've just got a lot of Star Wars to talk about, really, and a few other things.
Okay,
Um,
I have not
you
started the
know,
Mandalorian.
okay, yeah. So we're recording this on a Wednesday, so the episodes come out on Wednesdays. I
Yeah.
haven't watched this one, which would
Okay.
be episode 6, and I think there's
There's
8 episodes
six
in
of
each
them
season.
already. Did they release them
Yeah.
like two at a time or something?
No, no, one every week. Yeah.
It's been 6 weeks already.
Maybe the first week they had 2.
Okay.
I can't remember
All
anymore,
right.
but yeah, they're on episode 6 now.
Wow.
There's only gonna be 8. Um, so yeah, I won't talk about that. Um, I did finish Rebels, so I finished the Star Wars Rebels
Whoa.
uh show.
And how many seasons was that?
That was 4 seasons.
Oh, were they 24
Um
episode?
no, some of them were a little shorter.
Okay,
Um this was what Dave Filoni made after the Clone Wars show.
sure.
And it follows a whole new like crew. Um it is very Firefly in kind of its
Mm.
setup. You have like a crew with a ship, and like each person on the crew has their own like shtick. Um, I think I might like that more than Clone
Oh
Wars.
my gosh, really? Is that the
It's
consensus? Because I don't hear people really bring up Rebels as much as Clone Wars.
so it's being brought up a lot right now, because of Ahsoka, the Ahsoka show,
Sure.
and kind of where the Mandalorian is heading now in this season. Um,
Mm.
so Star Wars Rebels follows like a Jedi in training named Ezra, and Ahsoka ends up in that show. Like it does the Star Wars thing or the Marvel thing where it like you've got this cast of crew that's all new people, but then you run into old friends and like you know
Hmm.
droids and things like that it kind of brings in. Fucking Princess Leia's in that show for like an episode,
Wow.
because it's kind of during that time frame. But yeah, like Ahsoka, the Ahsoka show is going to be all about like what happens after Rebels. So
Oh
like
wow.
Rebels
Okay.
ends, and like this Ahsoka show is basically going to pick up where that left off, and run with it. Um, man, that Rebel show is freaking fantastic. Like it's kind of hard to believe that it was a kid show,
Hmm.
like that it was like marketed as like a kid show, like on the Disney Channel.
Right.
Because it's pretty,
Heavy.
it's just so good. It has no right to be as good as it is, and
I mean, like, would your kids be interested in like the political pieces of?
no,
Right.
no,
Right.
but it has all that. Like it has all these like big stakes and like you know people fucking die. Like characters die, and like that's a weird thing that like those types of shows don't do very often.
Sure. Right.
And I know it's Star Wars. Like, is anybody ever really dead at this point? Like Palpatine's died like 800 times, and he's just always still alive.
Yeah.
Um, but Rebels is fantastic. It's again like if you can, it's only 4 seasons. It's not 7 seasons like Clone Wars. But if you're anywhere at all invested in that, it's fantastic. You have to watch it. Actually, one of the characters from Rebels makes a like very quick cameo in one of the episodes of Mandalorian, and I about lost my fucking mind
Wow.
when that happened. And there's another actual cameo from Rebels in one of the man in like the first or second episode of Mandalorian this season. That's really big, and you just wouldn't get it if you hadn't seen Rebels. But it's like a pretty big deal
Mm.
that once you watch it, I'll explain to you
Okay.
what it was, because you're gonna think it was weird because it kind of like pans the camera and like shows this thing for like an uncomfortable like amount of time, like, oh, that's something important, but I don't know
Right.
what it is, and I'll be able to explain that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
Rebels
would
is
always make that
fantastic.
comment of like a show would like zoom in on the hilt of a sword,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
just like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm doing it for the fans out there, man. The
Right.
fans will get it.
Yeah. 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 Rebels is great. It's fantastic. You should watch them. It's a pretty big undertaking though. I've been riding my bike a lot, so I kind of ran out of Clone Wars and went right into Rebels, and I actually just started the Bad Batch, which is kind of the next animated show that came out started last year. It's got 2 seasons now.
Hmm.
It follows a crew of uh, clone troopers that are introduced in Clone Wars. Um, so it's continuing on with kind of their story after Order 66 and all that stuff. So I'm only 2 episodes into that. That seems
How's
pretty
the
good so far. It's
animation
the
of
same.
that compared to?
It's very similar.
Okay.
Rebels is different. Rebels is a little more. It's different than Clone Wars. It's maybe a little more exaggerated, but
Okay.
it's still really good. I like the animation style of all of those, and they're all somewhat unique.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that's and yeah, so I'm 1 episode behind on the Mandalorian, but that is all of the TV that I've been consuming at the moment?
Trying to think, like, is there a standout thing from TV I've been watching? I would say you should, once you're done with your all your Star Wars, you should check out Vinland Saga. The first
Yeah,
season is on
I
Netflix. Have you heard of this?
you mentioned it to me.
Okay.
You mentioned it to me in Discord, and it's a Vikings anime.
Yes. And
Okay.
you know what? I think I'm just a fan of fucking Viking shit. You know, like it's such a brutal time period to learn about, and um, this show.
Did you did you watch the History Channel show?
No, my parents did, and man, they have tried to push us on that hard. Um,
I will say the first season of that is pretty good.
yeah.
After that, it kind of goes a little crazy, but the first season of that is really strong. It's got some really good actors and acting in it. Uh,
I mean,
for what was like a pretty low budget show
I wish I
at the
played
time.
that Assassin's Creed because I like Viking.
No, you don't.
Well,
No, you
okay,
don't.
but I do like Viking shit. Um, Vinland Saga is really good. I'm actually reading it. Um, I'm
Okay.
reading it as well. Just it's mangas are pretty quick to get through. Um, like reading The Dark Knight maybe took you what, maybe 2 hours. Um, a little longer if you're really focused on like the artwork. And manga is pretty well known for like drawing out a lot of battle scenes, so it's like those you can kind of just like kind of page through really and get the idea of what's going on. But that show is awesome, and I would say it's on Crunchyroll and it's on Netflix, and Netflix actually paid their own voice actors to do their own like subs of it, or dubs,
Okay.
English dubs
Yeah.
of it. So there's two different versions of English dubs out there, and Netflix has their own. The second season is running right now, and it does not have English dubs yet, but I'm sure that Netflix by the end of the year or something will end up doing their English uh, dubs over top of that. But that's really cool. Redemption story. Um, and it's just about these Vikings just kind of overtaking like England, like working with England and getting into some shit with them. And
Mhm.
so we finished The Last of Us. I'm about 13 episodes into Vinland Saga. Finished Shrinking.
Okay, so what happened at the end of Last of Us? Because I played the game, but I
Okay.
don't know how the first season is. I think the first season is supposed to cover the first game, so I don't know
Yeah.
how the show ended it.
So it did end, and this is complete spoilers. It did end in a hospital scene where why am I blank? Bella is, or Ellie.
Ellie?
She was in the hospital and they were gonna do the operation on her, and Joel busts in there and just completely kills everyone. And then as they're like walking out, they're out, and it seems like they've kind of ventured far away. And
Right.
she ends up just asking him like, "Hey, are you telling me the truth about the hospital?" And he's like, "Yes." And the camera goes back to her, and she's just like, "Okay." And then it cuts. That's it. That's where they ended it. The giraffe scene, I guess there was a big crazy giraffe scene in the show, or in the movie, or sorry, in the video game, and that
Yeah,
was also in the show as well. So
right. So, when she was in the hospital, they were gonna do this operation because she is immune to the fungus, and they
yes,
were going to try to extract it from her and hopefully save humanity.
but it was gonna kill her.
Hopefully, yeah, it was gonna kill her, so
Right.
Joel breaks in, and that's what she was asking him, like, well, what he was lying about, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So he basically told her like they weren't even for sure because all the dead bodies in there were operations that they've done previously, which may or may not be true. Um, but he was just like, you know, he lied to her. He told her just a blatant lie about the actual procedure, and why they're even out of there. So Like it was,
Okay.
I mean, it seems like it matched the game.
Yes. Yes, it did.
They have announced that the second season is only going to cover part of the second game, so I think they're going to split up that game into two seasons, and then they said they'll probably do they'll throw some curveballs in there where it might start uh like going against what happens in the video game, which to me, I think I know what happens. I think something happens to Joel quite early, and
Uh,
I could be wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, but because on the box art and stuff, it's only Ellie. Um, and I'm curious if because he's such a big character, if they won't commit to that.
I don't wanna say anything.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. So, um, but I'm just curious where they'll end up taking that.
It will be interesting to see how they handle this next season. I'll say that.
Nothing against her, but can she carry a show by herself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
questions.
Those are questions. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some video games, and then we'll get into
Okay.
books. What have
I,
you been playing?
Star Wars.
I've been playing a lot, man.
Yeah, I've yeah. So I beat Jedi Fallen Order. It took me 4 times starting that game
Yeah.
over a period of 2 or 3 years to finally play it and beat it. I played the entire game on the Steam Deck, which was fantastic.
Yep.
The just pick up and play and resume and all that, just perfect. Um, no issues there. I have to say, I, I can't remember a video game that I disliked the first quarter of it so much,
Yeah.
and then absolutely loved the like back 75%
Yeah.
of it.
What game have you pushed through? you know?
Man, I don't know. I'm not usually that type of person.
Right.
Um, I'm usually like, nope, I'm out. I'm gonna go do something else,
Yep.
But the beginning of that game is just not very good. It's kind of poorly paced. Um, I don't like some of the first worlds you visit. They kind
Mhm.
of suck in my opinion. But man, after a certain point, it just gets going and it starts really getting into like the lore, and I'm 100% invested in that shit now.
Sure. Yeah.
So I got a lot out of that. It just keeps going, 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 going,
So
going.
does it have
And
cameos and like you?
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because this is taking place after Order 66. Cal Kestis is a Jedi on the run, so you have the Inquisitors that are hunting down Jedi. They're trying to hunt him down. He has a mission he's trying to go on and do. Um, that's pretty damn important. And he runs into some familiar characters from both the movies and the TV
Mhm.
shows. And it does a really good job of making him like a pretty damn big character to the point where I think they could end up with him in live action at some point.
Mhm.
Um, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he ends up in live action. But man, I freaking loved the end of that game. The way that game ends is fucking fantastic. Just great. It has some
The
really
next
good.
one comes out this month, right?
Yes, in
Okay.
a couple weeks, April 28th. So
You
I am pumped as shit for
you
that.
picking it up?
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, I am
Mm.
ready for that. Um, but yeah, that's a great game. If you were like, I know a lot of people played that when it came out. It sold really well.
Yeah.
Um, if you were like me, I would say just put the freaking thing on easy and just get
Okay.
through the first couple worlds, and then after that, it really does pick up quite a bit. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed that game.
I think that is on
Um,
Game Pass. So.
it it was. I don't know if it still is or not. I
Oh,
played it
okay.
on Steam, but yes, it was on Game Pass at some point. I think through like the EA Play thing
Mm.
that Game Pass has. Um, so I also played a bunch of Cyberpunk a couple weeks ago. I've basically got that game like 100%ed up to the point where I just need to do like the last mission,
Wow.
um, which I wanted to do. to kind of get ready for the DLC that's going to come out later this year. So I think sometime right before that DLC launches, I'll do that last mission, finish up the game and then jump right into the DLC. So I'm kind of leaving that where it is for now.
I did randomly load that on my Steam Deck last night,
Okay.
and boy, it did not run good at all.
Yeah, I saw that they deck verified it a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
but I don't. So
It's
the
rough.
I noticed when I looked at the graphics options, it was set for Steam Deck. It was like we created an option for Steam Deck.
Yes.
And I was maybe getting 10 frames a second. Like it was not a good experience. So, but hey, I got a beefy boy to play that thing on. So,
Yep.
I do want to finish that game before that DLC comes out too. Um, I've almost thought about just starting over because I mainlined that game and I would like to kind of explore it a little more. But there's
Did
some
you beat the last mission?
no, I no. But that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if I've locked myself out of stuff, but
No, no,
okay.
you haven't.
Honestly, it's just been so long that like I'd have to relearn what my even what I
Right.
even like
Yeah.
my build out and everything
I,
is.
I
So
wouldn't I wouldn't restart it, I don't
okay,
think. I would pick up where you left off
just
and
go do
kind
some
of
side shit.
there's no the only time you can lock yourself out is that last mission and it very blatantly like pops up a thing like, hey, this is the point of no return. Like
Okay,
this is the ending of the game.
gotcha.
Um so yeah, you're free to kind of do whatever at that point.
Cool.
Like that's kind of it's like a meme on like the Cyberpunk Reddit is like for like once you get so far up into the main story and you get to that last mission, the mission thing it says meet Hanako at Embers like on the side of your computer and that just stays there for like other 40 hours that you're trying to beat the rest of the game. It's like
Right.
fucking Hanako's been waiting at Embers for fucking
Yeah.
a year in game time at this point.
Yeah.
Like it's burned into your monitor, you know. Um but yeah, that game continues to be really good. And honestly, you should load it up on your PC. Um because when I started it about a month ago, picked it up back again, it runs way better on my PC than it did before.
Whoa. Okay. So
Like
they've been
so
continuously optimizing it.
yeah, and I was able to actually turn the DLSS up to like
Wow.
quality instead of being like on performance. And on my 3060 Ti, it is almost locked at 60 now, which it never was before.
Damn.
Now I have
Okay.
ray tracing off. Um, if I turn ray tracing on, I can get like 40 to 45. Um,
Ray tracing
but
looks good though, doesn't it?
it does look good, man. It does. But I kind of I turned it off and just got myself used to the normal stuff.
Yeah.
But
So
it does run a lot
you would
better.
rather lock at 60.
Yes,
Okay.
I need the frame rate. Yeah,
Gotcha.
because that game is. I guess if it did like a consistent like 45 or 50, then I would be okay. But that game, once you turn ray tracing on, is so up and down. Like it can go from
Mm,
60 to 30 to
right.
you drive to certain parts of that world, it just really chugs, and that's really jarring.
Mm.
But that game continues. That game's fantastic. I really like playing that game. Um, let's see,
I
Dredge,
I need to know about Dredge.
Dredge.
Talk to
Oh
me about
boy,
this
let's
fucking
see.
fishing game.
So I am 10 hours into Dredge. I think I'm on the last like mission, so to speak, in
Wow,
the
okay.
last area. So Dredge is a fishing game. You are a fisherman that has a little boat. Um, I think they describe it as like a fishing horror game.
Mm.
It has these like horror elements kind of built into it. So the way it starts, you kind of start and you like crash your boat, and then you wake up at this little town, and they're like, "Hey, you need a boat? We'll loan you a boat. You can repay the debt by catching fish, and everything's fine." And then you start catching fish, and you catch all these like uh, crazy looking fish, and it's got a day night cycle. So during the day, everything's like fine. It's like all kind of Stardew Valley, like da 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 da. This is awesome, doing our thing. And then nighttime comes, and this fog rolls in, and like you've got this little bitty light on your boat, and you're trying to like it starts you like in this little cove with two little towns, and you're like driving around, just you can only see so far with this little bitty light, and you start seeing like this crazy shit, like all these eyeballs like looking at you, and like you start catching these really weird like aberrations of fish, like different types of
Mm.
like you have a bunch of different types of fish, and then each one of those has like a mutated form that you'll catch. So there's like this sinister thing happening in this world at night. Um, and that's it's not really scary, but it like shit will fuck up your boat, and so it can damage your engines. It can like toss stuff overboard, and it's got a the whole point of the game is you're trying to upgrade your boat. You eventually meet somebody that starts to gives you like the main quest,
Hmm.
and so you're going to all these different portions on this map. It's one big map that you're kind of sailing around, um, and kind of upgrading. It's got like a progression for your boat, progression for all the different fishing reels. There's different like areas that you can fish, like coastal, shallow, like abyssal, oceanic. That you have to have a certain rod to fish.
Mm, right.
So you got to buy rods and sell fish, and you can like it's very
There's like a loop to it.
there's a loop. There's a really good loop. Both the upgrade loop, the fishing loop, and like the exploring and doing the main quest loop is really good. And it does something that I think a lot of games struggle with, where it does a good job with that progression. Like when you start off, your boat is so fucking slow, and like so time only moves when you're moving the boat. So you can just sit there and time just stops. Like the clock stops.
Mm.
Like the world keeps moving, but like the day night cycle stops. And so it only moves when either you're moving the boat or you're fishing. And so, like in the beginning, you're really slow, and you don't want to be out at night in the beginning because your boat's really slow and shit can fuck
Scary.
you up. And then that costs money to fix your boat, and you need the money to do the other shit. And so it's this little loop. But it does a really good job of in the very beginning, you're looking at this map, you're like, God, my boat is slow as fuck. It's like a really big endeavor to like go to this other place. And then by the time you're where I am, like I'm like two upgrades away from a fully upgraded ship. Like, dude, I'm zooming across the boat or across the map like nothing. Like I'm just like zoom, 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 zoom. And it
Mm.
just feels really good. It like, oh yeah, yeah, this thing's super fast now. Like it does a good job with that progression.
And you said you're
Both with
like
the
10 hours in?
yeah, I'm 10 hours in. I would say it's probably if you mainlined it like hardcore, it's probably a 10 to 12-hour game.
Okay.
I haven't finished it, but I think I'm like in the last mission. You could I'm probably gonna squeeze, I would say somewhere around 14 to 16 out of it.
Mm.
I haven't looked at how long to beat to see what it's averaging. Um, it can't be much longer than that. But yeah, it's a great game. It's a great deck game. I've been playing on the deck.
Mm.
It has cloud sync, so I probably played 75, 25,
Okay.
75 on the deck, 25 on the computer. Runs great on the deck, deck verified, no problems at all. Looks fantastic. Looks great on the computer too.
I have
Um,
a very random question for you.
yeah,
You've had this deck for a while now. How often are you thinking of upgrading your computer?
not at all. No, no.
Okay.
I was dead set on doing that about
Yeah, I know.
4 months ago, and now I don't care. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just don't care. Like you messaged me the other day. You're like, oh, we're gonna get a micro center, and I was like, oh, that is cool, but like
I
I don't want to build a computer anymore. But then
sure.
I want to go to a micro
Yeah,
center.
I want to go and just like look at it,
Yeah,
but that
yeah,
would be it. I don't plan on buying anything, which is probably
yeah,
not a good like, you know,
yeah, yeah,
probably not a
yeah.
good we're not good customer experience, but
Right. No, the deck is fantastic, man. I mean,
it's on my
yeah,
wish
Dredge is like
list. I really want to play that game.
it's it's fantastic. It's really good. It might be something your wife might like, just because of like the
Oh,
loop
okay.
to it is very like Stardew Valley with the day and night cycle, and like, oh, to go out at like certain fish are only out at night,
Mhm.
and certain fish are only out at day, and like certain things are happen at night. That's kind of got a little bit of a Stardew vibe to it.
Mhm.
Um, and it is pretty. it's not a hard game. Like
Okay.
the the hardest part about the game is just the way the boat controls. If you like bump into a rock or something, it'll damage your boat, and that kind of sucks.
Uh,
Um, and it does have this like resting mechanic where when you're at a dock, you can rest until morning, and you kind of have to rest because if not, your guy you have like a panic meter where your guy will get
mm.
like all freaked the fuck out at night and he'll start seeing shit and like seeing rocks and fucking monsters and whatnot. Um, but it's not a hard game. Like I it would it might be something that's up her alley,
Okay.
possibly. Doesn't
Mm.
have like any crafting or anything. Um, but it's a very well put together game that's like complete, like in the era of um like early access and all this crap. And you're a lot of times we're paying 20-30 bucks for games that aren't even
Right.
games yet. This is a fully fleshed out game. Like it's really really good.
So,
It's really
like
good.
you
I
said,
like it.
time moves if you're driving or you're fishing, right? So,
Yes.
like, you couldn't theoretically just fish out there forever. Is there,
No.
you have to worry about like an inventory or something? Kind of like how you
Oh,
have to.
yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So it has your boat has an inventory, and it is straight up Resident Evil like 2, 3, and 4,
Fuck
where
yeah.
you have to play inventory Tetris
Okay.
with your fishing rods, your
So, like, is the
engines, your
fucked up
lights.
fish like in fucked up shapes?
Yes, all the fish have different shapes, and so
Okay.
you can fit them in there in different ways, and
Ah,
you're
that's cool.
constantly trying to find, like, materials to yeah, there's, like, materials you use to upgrade that you'll find around the world, so you're constantly doing inventory management, um, and that's a big part of the game is,
Mm.
like, doing there's an achievement for getting a item in every box of your boat,
Mm.
so it is yes, it is very
Yeah, I
much
like
that.
that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's on my list. I do want to check that game out. Um, anything else?
No, I'm looking forward to the new Jedi game. Um, Diablo had a like beta a couple weeks ago. People seem pretty high on that. That comes out in June.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that. Gotta play through that when that comes out. Um,
Yeah, I never jumped into it because I just know it's one that I'm gonna want to play.
yeah,
So I was just like,
yeah.
I'm gonna buy that when that comes out. So I am starting to get a little bummed that I won't be able to play Final Fantasy when it comes out because I've seen some of the latest trailers of that and it looks fun.
Mm,
It's a complete departure. It is not an RPG, or it's not like a traditional Final Fantasy game that you might think of. It's more akin to like a Neo or even like a Wolong that just came out earlier, which I still want to give that
right.
game a shot, but I think they need to patch it a little more. Um, man, I've finished a lot. So I did finish like a Dragon Ishin. I played this game called Patch Quest. I played it all the way through, almost all of it on the deck. It is a Pokemon cross like Binding of Isaac, where you are moving
Ah,
from like screen to screen. Um,
yep.
it was very very good. I've seen like some here's top games of 2023, and Patch Quest is on there. It's not like selling like hotcakes, so you're not gonna see it on like Steam charts, but it kind of hooked me like what was the game that came out in January last year where you were like,
Nobody saved the world.
yes, it hooked me like that game did.
Yeah.
Where I mean I was I probably put 20 hours into that game in like no time, it felt like. um my son and I, we played through Kirby Return to Dreamland. It was like a 5 to 6 hour game. The Kirby game that came out last year was like a 3D game. It was really, really good. This one is like a remake of like a Wii or a Wii U game.
Okay.
It's just one that we haven't played. The co-op was really good. And it honestly had some like Mario Party style mini games that were fun that we actually kept
Mm,
going back to and playing with each other. It those were cool. And then once you finish the game, it actually unlocks this prologue where you play as the villain, and it turns into like a almost like an RPG where you're like leveling up stats and such. We got about halfway through that. My son kind of fell off of it, so I'm like, okay, well, I don't care. So that one's going back to the old GameStop. I completed Marvel Midnight Sun.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that game was fucking awesome.
Okay.
I could not believe how much detail was put into that game. It is by the creator is Firaxis, which is the company that made XCOM, and it is a XCOM like game, except you do battle with cards. The
Mm-hmm.
card management is not difficult. You only each character you only play with three characters, sometimes two, sometimes one. And then they each bring in 8 cards, and it's kind of like Pokemon in a way where you can only have so many Pokemon. You can only have so many trainer cards. You can have only have so many energy cards. It kind of adapts that where you can have so many attack cards. You can only have so many like support cards, and again, there's only 8 cards that you can bring in. Um, it does the Fire Emblem Three Houses thing where you go on a fight and then you go back to the place called the Abbey, and you're like building up relationships with different Marvel heroes. I like Marvel. I'm not super invested, but and some of the dialogue was a little like I started getting to a point where I was kind of like thumbing through it just because.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall story that it was telling was interesting. I thought the combat itself was really engaging, and I really liked that game. A little long, um, but it was fun. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I did pick up Fire Emblem Engage, but I did not want to jump from one strategy game to the next, so
Right.
I will play that probably at some point this summer. Um, I have about an hour into Terra Nil, which is a new game that just released, I think, last week.
Yes.
Is on Steam and is part of your Netflix subscription if you are subscribed to Netflix. I'm playing it on the iPad, and it is like a reverse Sim City. You're not really building up a city. You're kind of taking this wasteland and trying to bring life into it. I am only about an hour into this, and the tutorial took about 30 to 45 minutes. So now I'm at a point where I am trying to level out the humidity to allow growth, but it does get to a point to where you are trying to like invite you're trying to get your land to a point to where like critters will want to start, and it's like, okay, now try to
Right.
get like so many critters, and um you just it's just a checklist game. It seems like it's one of those like you have this big book and you're trying to just fill this book out. um but I am playing the easy mode of it, where it's
Okay.
I think they call it relaxed, where it's just like just do your thing, just enjoy it. Like there's
Right.
no pressure, just do your thing and hope for the best. um like we've been playing. Oh, so I started Pizza Quest.
Okay.
Pizza Quest came out in January. Um, my son and I are playing that. We're actually just passing the Steam Deck back and forth. That is a crazy WarioWare style game where the graphics is like Comic Zone and it's real goofy, and you go through a level and it's like Sonic, like you're going fast, you're destroying enemies, and every now and then you'll hit a wall and it's like, okay, well, I should have ducked here, so then I'll back up and then start my run again. And you get to the end, and then what happens is it turns into pizza time, and you have to completely backtrack through the level, but it's you're timed. So it's like you have 2 minutes before
Oh.
this fucking pizza comes out and like destroys you or something. And to watch my son like get this like crazy nervous like gut wrenching like oh my gosh, and he's running and he keeps hitting a wall and he's getting stressed, and I love it. Pizza
Yeah.
Quest is so fucking good. That game is great. Real runs really well on the deck. I will say we played it upstairs and I slung it to my we have a just not a it's not a fancy 4K TV, it's just like it's like an Amazon Fire
Yeah.
4K TV, and boy, that game does not like 4K at all. It
Oh,
it
okay.
just froze. Like it couldn't
Huh.
handle it. It tried to go to like 850 by 540. It didn't 1920 by 1080 was the highest. So it didn't even register 4K. It was just like I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna crash on you. Um,
Hmm.
so that is what we are playing right now. I'm playing Terra Nil. We are passing Pizza Quest back and forth. Um, there's some shit coming out that I'm pretty excited for. Um, Ghostwire Tokyo is about to hit Game Pass. That is from Tango. I think that came out last year, and it was like a PS5, PS4
Yes.
exclusive. So like I said, that's coming to Game Pass. I do want to play that. And you linked this to me yesterday or the day before. It was already on my wish list. I think it's called Mage Seeker. Um,
Yes.
that is a League of Legends game. I am not the biggest fan of League of Legends, even though I thought the show was fantastic. But it is made by the Moonlighter team. I adore that game. It's in my top 10 of all time. And that's their only game that I've seen that they
Yes.
have made. I've also never played the DLC of that game. So at some point when I play it again, I'll pick up all that DLC. I'm sure that game runs great on the deck. But I want to play that game. It looks really good. It's kind of the same art style, but it seems like it's going to be more narrative focused. So we will see how that game is. I think that's it for me. Like a Dragon Ishin was fantastic. I loved that game.
Mm.
Lots of good shit this year. It's been a good year of releases so far. Some
It
stuff has gotten
has.
pushed. Um, but I think there's still a lot coming out that I'm really excited about. The big one would be Diablo. I cannot wait to play that game. Okay. Um Books. Let's talk about some books.
Books. That's where I've been lacking. I've
Mm,
been very, very, very slowly trying to make my way through Mistborn 5.
okay.
Um, which one is that again? I don't even remember the title.
Bands of Mourning, I
Bands of
think.
Mourning?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 20% or so into
Mm.
that. Um,
That one's
I'll probably
slow.
get more. Yeah, it seems a little. I mean, I'm in the very beginning, so it
Sure.
is a little bit slower. Um, I'll get more into that here in the next couple weeks. We've just been so damn busy. I haven't had
Mhm.
time to listen to or read and trying to play more games. That's the only book though. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, slacking.
Um, do I even have books on here? Oh, okay. Yeah, I do. So I have finished Jade City 1 and 2. Um, I'm working on Valor, which is the Fallen and the Faithful. That is book 2 in that series. I finished Tomorrow, which I think we talked about that on the last podcast, but maybe I didn't finish it at that point.
Mhm.
Still reading Chainsaw Man. I did pick up Vinland Saga. Um, and I don't even know the name of the book, but I started Secret Book number 2.
Oh, yes, that released, just the other day.
Yep.
Yeah. It is called The Frugal Wizard's Guide for Surviving Medieval England.
Yes.
It is not it's the one that's not the Cosmere book?
I don't see how it could be. I was curious about that because I'm like, yo, they're talking about like real life, and I
Yeah.
don't think this is
Yeah.
in the Cosmere.
Yeah, I
Um,
haven't started it yet.
I'm getting big Alcatraz vibes from it.
Ah, okay.
Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I'm like. My son would enjoy this a lot more than me.
Okay.
Um, it is, and I'm so happy that like Brandon Sanderson he likes writing that stuff, and I'm glad that he's able to do that. And I'm not sure like if he shopped that around, if like too many people would want to invest super heavily in it. Not to say I'm
Right.
not liking it. I'm only about an hour into it. I am listening to this one. Um, Gosh, freaking Michael Kramer and uh, his wife. I'm blanking
Yes.
on her name,
Kate.
but
Kate
Kate
Redding.
Redding. Gosh, they're so good. And I loved that video that you linked me to when they were showing off
Yes.
their house. Um, Gosh, yeah.
Yes. So I actually had, since you mentioned those two, while I was playing Dredge, Dredge has no voice acting. The only voice acting it has is like the characters that you talk to will kind of and
Mm-hmm.
and make little like guttural
Grunts.
sounds.
Yeah.
And like that game has like a vibe, and it's like a real Michael Kramer vibe. And I was like, man, if they could have
Uh,
just got him to
yeah.
to read these lines, it's not that many. Like there's not that many. It would have been just the icing on top of the cake for this game if they could have gotten him to do the voiceovers
I
for
wonder if
that.
he's done any
Um,
VO for video games.
I don't know. I'd have to look at his Wikipedia page. Maybe not. Yeah.
Um, but the book seems fine so far. It's really weird, and it seems very thick with his humor, and I'm not the biggest fan of Brandon Sanderson's humor. I think I would get much more appreciation out of it if I was experiencing this with my son or my daughter. Um, but again, just I love listening to Michael Kramer
Mhm.
speak. So
Mhm.
he could he could read the phone book to me, and I'd just be like, "Yep, I'm into this, dude." Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of I don't keep up with books as much. Um, I've been getting into manga a little bit, but even all of that, everything I'm reading so far outside of Brandon Sanderson's secret novella or novels, it's all stuff that's not from this year. I don't keep up with like new release books. I do with video games, I do with
Right.
TV. Um, but books is like that one thing where it's just like I let Goodreads recommend stuff to me, or I just see what's available from the library. So
I think it's harder to discover like new books. Like unless you're like invested in an author, like it's like if some new hot author, like unknown author, like drops a book and
yeah,
like it takes a while for that to like pick up steam.
yeah,
And anymore, like everything's a freaking trilogy or a quadrilogy or something.
and
And
it's
so it's like,
hard, right?
do I want to invest in that now? Do I want to wait until there's more books? Like,
Sure.
what's the books where the guy hasn't finished it? Not Game of Thrones. The Patrick
Yeah, the King
Rothfuss.
Killer Chronicle.
Yeah, like he hasn't finished. I don't know if it's the last book or it's like
Yeah,
the
it's
next book.
yeah,
Like,
the door of whatever stone or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I've read both those books and the novella. I'm just waiting on that freaking third book to come out.
yeah.
Um, Book Talk has gotten me a couple times. I've picked up some stuff from there, and it's been. I read The Fisherman and Legends and Lattes. I really like Legends and Lattes. The Fisherman, not so much. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I think it's. And I will say, Goodreads has their recommendations. I don't know if you've ever like tried to have Goodreads recommend something to you, but it is fucking awful. Like
Yeah, I've never
I don't
never
know
tried.
why they have not invested more into the algorithm of trying to recommend shit, but
I mean, they're owned by Amazon. Like, it shouldn't be that
yeah, you
hard.
would think it would be better, but my gosh, it is not great at all. Like I've
Oh,
given up on it. So and even everyone I'm friends with on there, we all have different tastes. So
right.
it,
Yeah.
it is hard. But really it's just like I find a fantasy author I'm into, so then I'll just start going through their backlog of stuff, and that has not let me down so far. So
Yeah. Yep.
that's my updates. Get through Mistborn 5, man. That's that ending is a fucking son of a bitch. I will say that. So,
Okay.
um I can't wait to read the sixth one. I just got to get through a couple things before I'll pick that one up. So, and Rhythm of War, man, it's staring at me, but
Yep. Me too. Yep.
okay, is there anything else? E3 has been canceled.
Yes.
And while I've never been, we had the chance.
We had the chance to
We
go.
had the
Yeah,
chance to go.
we
When
did.
Resume Play was hopping, we had a badge or two, and now it won't come back. Like there's no way that they can
No.
recover from
No.
this. And if they do, it'd just be like a Gen Con thing where it would just be completely open to the public.
The only way it comes back is if they somehow get like Keeley involved, but he's got his own thing. Like he would have to abandon his own thing.
And why would he do
Like
that?
he's not gonna do that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does Keeley do outside of Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards?
I think that's it.
I mean,
Like I think he's got some more events that he does. But that's yeah, I
does he
think that's
do
his two big
like
things.
non-game events? Like, is he?
He used to work for like game trailers at one point, but I don't even know if that's
Mm,
still a site anymore. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
he's
don't
his
think I've
own.
seen that in a long time.
Yeah, he's a 1099 man. He's his own man.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a podcast I was listening to where they were talking about if E3 would be. It may have been Nextlander. Um, they were talking about like will E3 be canceled, and then on the show they were like, oh, there's the news. It is actually canceled.
Right.
I thought that was kind of interesting, but um, then the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom trailer came out. Um, I will say it did nothing for me. Um, I don't know
Yeah,
what.
it was a gameplay trailer, so
Yeah,
it was
what were
one
your
of the
thoughts on that?
designers. Yeah, it's one of the designers that played like 15 minutes of the game and showed off a bunch of the new stuff. Um, so it seems like this is going to be the Majora's Mask
Hmm.
to Breath of the Wild. Whereas like Ocarina of Time was like the main like a mainline Zelda, and then Majora's Mask comes out like not very long after with kind of the same map and the same art
Was
style,
Majora's
same
Mask the
engine.
same map?
It was very similar. I'm pretty sure it was the same map.
Oh,
I think it had edits to it,
okay.
but I think it was the same map for the most part. And this game comes is going to come out and it's the same engine. Like it's using the same map, but it looks like it's got some changes that have been made to
Hmm.
it. And they're leaning in Majora's Mask was really weird. And this game looks like it's leaning into that weird shit. So it like after that game, after Breath of the Wild came out, after it'd been out a while, like social media and like Twitter and TikTok were just full of people doing crazy shit
Yeah.
with like the stasis and the electricity and like the bombs and like you'd see somebody like run up to a rock and like hit it 40 times and then freeze it and then bomb it and then they just go flying across the map and then just smack Ganon in the face like that or do something just absolutely ridiculous like
Yeah.
they would those like Doc Ock Sentinel things that I don't remember the names to that had like the lasers. Like they would be like 3 miles away from one of those things and like shoot an arrow in the air, like hit a rock and then blow up and then catch up to the arrow and then like right as the arrow hit, they'd shoot another arrow into this thing.
Hmm.
It was like this like precision, like all that weird shit that people did with Breath of the Wild. They've leaned all the way into that. So they were like, oh, people they liked that. We'll do all of that. So now there's these new abilities you have where Link can literally like take a stick and pick up a rock and then just like put the rock on the end of the stick and like that's a weapon. Or he can take like a pitchfork and attach that to the end of the stick and now he has like a really long range like
Hmm.
pokey weapon. Um, and what did they call that? They called that fuck, it was something really weird.
Yeah, I don't
It was like
remember all the.
it was like fucking like it was Fuse maybe? That was Fuse?
Yeah.
Um, and then another one of the other abilities is basically like Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, where you can build vehicles and build other stuff. Maybe I don't know. Most of what they've shown is vehicles, so you can
Mm-hmm.
take a bunch of logs and then put these like battery powered like wind
Fans.
propulsion fans on them, and then
Yeah.
like make a boat. Um, and it looks like that's they showed off some different creation. Looks like that can get pretty involved. Um, let's see what else did they show. They showed an ability where you can like any building or thing that has a roof, you can just like ascend through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Like Link will just like rise right up through it.
Yeah, I think they call
Um,
that transfarring.
yeah,
Is that what?
transferring. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they have all these new abilities, and then it does look like the same map that they've edited, but then in the sky are all these like floating islands where it's it almost seems like they were like, well, should we build a new map and like put it over like this mountain? And
Right.
it's like, nah, man, we'll just put it in the sky. Fuck it. Like, we'll just do that. I mean, we had Skyward Sword. I mean,
Yeah.
that'll be easier. Like, it kind of, I mean, I guess it works. So you can go up to those places, and obviously you're going to be doing missions and stuff up there. Um, it just looks really weird. Like it's leaned into the sandbox nature of what Breath of the Wild was, like even harder. Of here's this sandbox, you can build all this crazy shit and do all this crazy stuff to solve these problems. Is kind of what that game's kind of leaning into. I I'm kind of with you. Like it really didn't do a whole lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of looked at it and thought it was just kind of hilarious. Um, that's what that game really is. Um, I mean, we'll see when it comes out and see what else is to it. Like man, is the Switch gonna run that game? Like looking at that game,
I
like
don't
it's
know,
gotta
man.
run. You know, they said it's done. Like it's done. Like it is done development. Like it's coming out what in
May.
May? A couple like not less a little bit less than a month. So not that far away, but they said it's like content complete. That game's fucking done. Like I'm interested to see how that game's gonna run on the Switch.
I will say when he was up on that little island and he gets knocked off and he's free falling for like 30 seconds, that was
Yes.
kind of cool. But that's
Yeah.
cool for like one or two times, and then it would probably get to a point to where it'd be like, fucking hell, I just got knocked off, and now I gotta wait and watch this guy fall forever,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then gotta figure
Yeah.
out like, okay, I need to be able to rewind one of these boulders that continuously falls so I can get back up
Right.
there. If there's not like a fast travel system to get back up there, but um
Yeah.
I don't engage with video games like that. I'm not a creative person. So if they're just like in like Minecraft, I can kind of like all my houses look the same in Minecraft. You know, I like the idea of like mining for diamonds and shit, and then I start losing interest.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think,
I like the building in like Minecraft and stuff. This seems a little. I don't know if I would classify this the same way.
well, I'm
Um.
saying I was meaning more as like it's a sandbox for you to just kind of do whatever
Right.
in.
Yeah.
And it seems like Tears of the Kingdom is just like you'll be presented with like missions or situations to figure out, but
Right.
it'll be like you can tackle it however you want. And I think the openness of it is it's not intimidating, but it's just like I'm not really creative, so I would just find like the thing to get it done and would probably just stick with that. And then would scroll TikTok and then see people are doing all this cool shit and it's like that's cool, but I'm not smart to even think to pause the game and hit this thing five
Right.
times and then jump on top of it and ride it off to the sunset. I just don't think like that. It's
Yeah.
cool that people do and they can spend the time to learn that, but I'm a point A to point B type person. Let me know how to do that. Um, one game that I'm really interested in is this Octopath Traveler. I played the
Okay,
first
yeah.
one, and um kind of I played a little bit of it and I was like, yeah, this really isn't for me. But I think the what they do in this game is you start with a character and then they just kind of it opens up and they're kind of like, do your own thing. You can go recruit these other people, and or you can not, and you can just go tackle the game. And I'm interested in that, but I like that it's a little more of a guided experience. Where
Mm-hmm.
Zelda is, it's just you can just seemingly do anything, and I like the more guided experience of video games versus just fucking tinker with it.
Right, right.
Um, I don't know. I will see reviews, but I didn't care for Breath of the Wild that much. I didn't like the divine beasts. I didn't really like
Ah,
exploring that world. I thought it was kind of open, and I didn't the things to interact with just didn't really do it for me. Um
yeah, I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as a lot of people did. A lot of people were like, "Oh, the world is so awesome, and there's all this stuff to discover," and I'm just looking at it like, "This world is fucking empty."
right.
There's like 20 NPCs in this whole fucking
But
map.
I
Like,
but
what are you
what
talking about?
so I but I don't understand, like, and even when they explain it, they're just I'm like, what you're saying doesn't make sense. Like, why is that appealing to you? I don't
Right, right.
so I don't
Some of the
understand.
dungeons were cool, like some of those shrines were cool. I never beat it. I got to the very end and then didn't beat it.
I did finish
Like
it.
to the Ganon fight and just didn't beat it. Um,
And the
I,
Ganon fight was cool.
it was cool to explore and stuff, but I feel like that world was very empty.
I really did not
And
like
I'm
the puzzles of the Divine Beast either. I was just like,
really,
nah,
I liked it.
it wasn't my thing.
Um, but I'm interested to see like how it again. It looks like it's the same map. Like, how much are they going to change it to make it interesting to go back and like revisit
Right.
all those places again? You know, or is it going to be mostly everything up in the sky?
Yeah,
It
I
has to
don't
be
know.
because that game would be like 200 hours long. Like,
Right.
be too
And,
much ground to cover. But
and
we'll see.
yeah,
We'll see.
the little seeds, I didn't get into trying to collect all the
Oh
are they
no, no.
Korok? Is that what those are?
Korok
Korok
seeds.
seeds?
Yeah, that's for crazy people.
Yeah,
No,
no. So
no.
there's a lot to that game. I think I finished it in like 25 hours or something. So it
Mhm.
wasn't super intense. I did kind of mainline it though. Um Gosh, anything else? Are you going to see Mario?
Oh, I didn't even know it was coming out until today. Somebody told me. I was
Wow.
like, "Oh, geez, I totally almost missed that." Probably won't see it this weekend. Might take my kids and go watch it maybe next week sometime.
Hmm.
Um, what's your hype level?
So
I mean,
I already have
this is it.
tickets.
Okay, yep. So it's high.
Um, didn't like the reviews today.
Oh, there's reviews already.
Rotten
Okay.
Tomatoes is not. It's a bust.
Oh,
But I
that's
think
surprising.
people are just saying that it's generic. But you know what? I'm okay with that. Like, I don't need this movie to blow me away. We just recently rewatched Big Hero 6. That
Uh
movie is
huh.
fucking incredible. Am I going to
Mm-hmm.
get a Big
hmm
Hero 6 out of the Mario movie? No, I'm not. It's going to be a generic ass story that Mario needs to stop Bowser. And
Is there a possibility that the Sonic movie could be better than the Mario movie?
yes. Yeah.
Because the Sonic movies are fucking great,
And I still haven't seen the
both of them.
second one.
Oh man, it's great,
I've
fantastic.
heard it's great.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that first one. Um I don't want it to suck. That's all I want. Just don't suck. Just be interesting enough, and I will walk away happy. I seen one of the reviews, the headline was just like Pratt was okay as Mario. Like, it's fine. Don't go in there expecting
Oh
him to
no.
be amazing, but also he doesn't completely shit the bed. doing the Mario voice. Um, yeah, and it's 90 minutes long. Like it's a super short movie.
Oh man, okay.
So really,
Wow.
what can they do with 90 minutes? They got to
It's
set up a world.
I feel like no, I feel like that's probably going to be the reason why people don't like it because I haven't read any of the reviews, but if I had my guess, based on what I've seen of the trailers, is this just going to be 90 minutes of just them cramming as much fucking
Yeah,
nostalgia into it
yeah,
as humanly possible,
right.
which is probably fine for a lot of
Sure.
the audience. Like there I like so like Obi-Wan, like that TV show, most of it is just fan service.
Hmm.
And it, it's not not great probably beyond that. I liked it. But I see this movie being like there is no story. This is just all fan service, like just pure like we got to get the fucking like Super Mario World suit and the fucking raccoon suit, and we got to show the fish that fly over the bridge, and we got to
Oh yeah.
um at some point he's got to do like the duck trick where you can get 99 lives on like the
How many
stairs.
sports will be in this?
Yep,
Because
the
we know
different
Mario
sports.
Kart. We know Mario Kart's in it, but
Yep, it had Rainbow Road. Um,
will they make a Mario Party joke?
oh my god, if there's a Mario is missing cameo, I'm in.
The DK rap is in it.
Okay. Yeah.
The and here's something I seen. The DK rap is in it, but the guy that wrote it is, you would know his name. I've read it like 10 times today, but I can't think of it. But he's not credited in the credits as the writer.
Oh no. Oh
I know
no.
they did him dirty.
Oh man.
Um
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm anticipating going into the movie. It's just them cramming as much just nostalgia into it as possible in those 90 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like it's going to be. And I'm fine with that. It's my nephew's birthday, so we're getting him and we're going to go watch it and just fucking ham it up with Nintendo. So,
There we go. There we go.
it's going to be a good time. There's I seen John Wick.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
That
Yeah.
was do you like those movies?
Oh, I love them. Yeah,
Okay.
they're really good.
Yep. Well, guess what? It's another one of those. Um
Great.
this isn't a spoiler. But he speaks 380 words in the entire movie and it's 2.5 hours long.
Oh my gosh.
So pretty much he's just in there going, yeah. That's pretty
Yeah.
much all he says.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Um there's stuff coming out that I'm interested in, you know. I thought that Flash trailer looked fun. I want to see that movie. Uh
Yeah, I don't
Guardians
care about it.
Guardians of the Galaxy comes out next month. Um I want to see that Dungeons and Dragons movie. Did you watch the trailer for Blue Beetle?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's the first DC movie. That's DC's Iron Man.
Oh, this is the James Gunn. This is the
Yeah,
new
it's his first one.
already?
Yep.
Didn't that just happen like 5 months ago? Like, how does he already
Well,
have a movie together?
it's the first in what's supposed to be setting up like the MCU, like the DCU. So the
Ah, okay.
Flash is coming in and resetting everything, and Blue Beetle will be like Iron Man did. He came in and kind of set
Ah,
it up. That's what this Blue
okay.
Beetle character is. I'm not a huge comic guy. Never heard of Blue Beetle. Apparently he's pretty big, but I didn't know how big Ant-Man would get. And look at him. He got 3 fucking movies. So maybe Blue Beetle will be the hot shit, but I don't know. We'll see. Um Trying to think like what else is
I wanna see
coming
the
out.
Air movie that's out right
Yeah.
coming out right
Is
now.
that like
That
an
looks pretty good.
is that an Apple thing? Like will that be on Apple soon?
I think it's an Amazon thing.
Oh, Amazon. Okay. I'm curious
Yeah,
like when Amazon puts out movies how fast that'll show up on its service.
right.
Um yeah, you can already pre-order the Mario movie.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
wondering if that'll come out like pretty fast after a theater run. Um, yeah, man, there's a lot of good shit coming out. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Media is fun
It is.
and stuff is good.
And stuff is
I
good.
think I think that's
You need
all.
more stuff.
I need more stuff. Yeah. I think that's all I got. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. That was it.
Well, let's switch her over wherever. There we go. Thank you all so much for watching, for listening tonight. If you want to check out any of our past shows, you can go to bitpunch.tech. And if you want, you can send us an email at emails@bitpunch.tech. You can follow us on Twitch and Twitter at BitPunch. You can check out our archive streams on our YouTube channel at /user/BitPunch. Then check out our newsletter at bitpunch.substack.com. All of these links can be found on our website at bitpunch.tech. That is going to do it for us tonight. We will hopefully be back in a couple weeks as long as we can keep our shit together. But we I guess we'll see where life takes us. But thank you, Rich,
Yep. Thank you.
and we will be back in a couple weeks. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.